Welcome back, everyone, to O'Neill's Grill for our second half of today's Fan and Press Luncheon as JMU men's basketball coach Matt Brady now joins us. The Dukes 14-11 overall, 7-5 in the Colonial Athletic Association, remaining in a three-way tie for fourth place in the league standings. And, Coach, we're going to get a little literature here on you, as Charles Dickens had the best of times and the worst of times. And it seems to be weeks are happening that way with you, falling to UNCW on Wednesday and then having an exciting win on the road where the Dukes continue to do a pretty good job playing on the road against Towson, 63-61 on the Ron Curry buzzer beater. Your assessment of the week, Coach?
Well, I thought in the Wilmington game, give Wilmington a lot of credit. They play a very disruptive style defensively. They turned us over 10 times in the first half, and we really never got terribly comfortable against them. And for whatever reason, I was just saying, we haven't played some of our better basketball in our building recently, and those two last home games, unfortunately, we didn't feel good about how we performed. Flip the page, go to Towson. Having already beat them in our building, felt comfortable with the game plan, and really a very close, hard-fought game throughout. They out-rebounded us by 13 or 14, but most of that was done in the first 7 or 8 minutes of the game, and really after that I thought it was a fairly even game on the glass, and I thought they played really hard defensively. I thought that we played, a pretty smart game defensively, and then it came down to the last possession, and fortunately the ball bounced our way and went in the rim and take the road win.
The way that ball came off the hand of Ron Curry and used a lot of surface area, also some backspin on the ball. If he had not worked on his shot, I mean, certainly it wasn't a swish, but just the way he releases the basketball, would that ball have even had a chance, maybe?
Yeah, I don't think. And one of the things I've said to Ron here for the last couple of months is, when your point guard and your best player, when they make 3 threes or more in a game, not only do you get better point guard play, I feel like our team plays better. Like those shots are a big deal to get those perimeter jump shots to fall. Obviously, he makes 5 for the game. And I felt, he played with really good confidence for the whole game. And it was very reminiscent to me, the game at Hofstra, when I thought he kind of took control of the game. And here we go again on the road at Delaware. So I'm hopeful that he can continue this upward trajectory in terms of his own play and hopefully bring his teammates along with him with a similar kind of confidence. But, Ron has played well, and that last shot going in, I think, had a lot to do with the fact that his previous shots had gone in.
Ron has now scored in 11 consecutive games in double figures. The only game in the conference schedule that he has not was the opener against Towson the first time around. Also, Joey McLean, you inserted him for his first collegiate start in the lineup on Saturday. Can you walk through what you and your coaches talked about and in the decision to make him a starter on Saturday? You were looking for something, obviously.
Yeah, we were. We had not been happy or pleased with how we'd started games. And a lot of that's these home games we've had, but when there certainly started to be a picture where we weren't starting well, we weren't starting with enough toughness or energy, and we felt like we wanted to make a change, and we talked about different guys. In fact, everybody's name was on the table at one point in terms of other than Ron Kerry, I think we talked about every other starter coming out for somebody, and we even talked about potentially not starting 2 of our starters for 2 other guys. But when it came down to it, we thought that Joey had been playing well, gave us an opportunity to create a turnover or 2 early in games. We wanted to play man-to-man. And I think a 2-point guard look has been good, and Joey's been playing better, and I think that Ron's felt less pressure when Joey's been on the court. So it seemed to have worked well for that game. I don't know if it'll work going forward, but it's certainly something we're going to stay with for the foreseeable future.
And Yohani Dallenberg, you also mentioned last week that you wanted him to shoot more. Well, he shot 13 times against the Tigers.
Yeah, it's interesting. When I first sat with Yohani in my office and we talked about we need you to be more aggressive, and we can't have you taking 5 shots, which you did the 2 previous games at home, 3 for 5, 3 for 5 in home losses. Not enough productivity from our starting front court, and he's the guy that we need to be productive. So when I first mentioned this idea of we need you to take 11, 12, 13 shots in the game, he was a little bit taken back by the fact he thought I was asking him to be selfish. And I said, it's not really selfish. It's we need our front court to be productive. And if we can't necessarily count on anybody else, in fact, I can't tell you you're going to have great games, but we need you to be aggressive. And even in the second half versus Towson, he didn't make as many shots, but he remained confident and aggressive. And that's really what we need from him. Even if he's not going to make shots, we need him to be confident, aggressive, with the opportunity to maybe even get fouled.
Good news from the CA in that Ron Curry is this week's CA Player of the Week, and Joey McLean is the co-Rookie of the Week in the Colonial. So congratulations to both of those. Going forward here, Coach, you're going to play the third or the second of a 3-game swing coming up here on the road. Delaware on Tuesday night, an 8 o'clock start, and then to Elon on Saturday. As you look ahead this week, please.
So I think Delaware's certainly been playing as better basketball than they started the year. In fact, I would say to you, I think from where they started the CAA conference and where they're playing now, they're as improved as any team in the league. And they're getting production from a lot of different guys. In their road win at Northeastern, Maurice Jeffers had 20 points and 9 rebounds. In the game against us just a couple weeks ago, obviously Marvin King Davis had great productivity at 31 points, a career high. Kyle Anderson, Corey Holden was going to make the all-rookie team. Chavarsky Corbett had 4 threes against us, so they have a lot of weapons, and I think that they're finally starting to kind of put it all together.
Can you stay with the same formula that beat the Blue Hens a couple of weeks ago here at the Convocation
Center? Well, we're going to play more man-to-man, and we're going to try and go back and forth and try and keep teams a little bit off balance, and I thought that was somewhat successful against Towson. We need our front court when we're in zone to be much more active, and they need to cover more area of the court. But we are going to play more man-to-man, and that's certainly something we've decided to do. And I think that's a good recipe for us. We've been searching for a second defense, haven't been comfortable with anything we've tried. So in this game, hopefully we'll play more man-to-man.
How are you deciding in game? Where is that call being made? Let's go ahead and switch. The zone's working to a certain point. Now's the time to throw a different wrinkle at them.
Yeah, and I think some of it comes down to comfort level. Are we comfortable with the court, the team we have on the court? Are they better in zone, or are they better in man-to-man? And some of it is just the look of the other team. If they're getting shots that are too comfortable for us, then we'll change. You would think that when you go man-to-man, the shots become a little less comfortable. But for us, the issue has always been in man-to-man, keeping the ball in front of us, on ball screens, especially when our front court guys are involved in it. So if we can keep the ball in front of us, we've always liked our first shot defense, except recently in zone. I think our first shot defense in the last few games has not been as stout as it had been. But in man-to-man or in zone, I think our first shot defense has been pretty solid. What can we rebound out of? What's the other team less comfortable in? And what's our lineup, and what are they more comfortable in?
Interesting. Chris Brooks and I were just talking a little while ago about Ron Curry, and when you look back at the first the games that you played thus far in the conference, the first 12, the Dukes have done a pretty good job against the opposing point guards for the most part. Yeah. What do you credit that to?
Well, I think he's been terrific defensively again all season, and I don't really beat the drum in terms of guy needs to make this team or that team, but if an all-defensive team, if you were to have one, you could make a conversation that Ron deserves to be in it. But I think Ron's taken a lot of pride in his ability to defend. He's got great size, really good athletic ability. He takes a lot of pride at that end of the court. Now the ball's going in the basket for him. It's really not a complicated game. When the ball goes in for you and you can play defense, you have a pretty solid, well-rounded game.
We asked Coach Kenny Brooks about this, and as he was growing up, that was the heyday of Dean Smith, of course, coaching at North Carolina. And so, Coach Brady, your influence, your thoughts on the legendary Dean Smith?
So really, the first great college team that I followed. Phil Ford, when he was in college, that's when I became a basketball junkie. So the Four Corners offense, Dean Smith, and all the great players that they had. But I remember watching those Phil Ford-led North Carolina teams. The powder blue uniforms, the sold-out arenas. All the great All-Americans that they had. As a 76er fan, we had some guys that came from North Carolina that played for Dean Smith, and one of my all-time favorite players is a guy named Bobby Jones. And Bobby Jones is a 6'9", athletic, forward that initially started in the ABA, and when he came over to the Sixers, Bobby Jones started to Dean Smith, point at your teammate when he throws you a pass, and it actually filtered all the way through all the 76ers, which is a chore in and of itself because that Sixers team was Julius Irving and Lloyd Free and George McGinnis, and all of a sudden you had all these great scorers pointing around the court, and that was really an influence that Dean Smith had on the Philadelphia 76ers.
All righty, Coach. Thank you very much. Let's open it up now to other members of the media. Here at O'Neill's Grill with our weekly Fan and Press Luncheon with JMU men's basketball coach Matt Brady.
Coach, moving forward with Ron Curry, how do you coach him so that the next game doesn't end up being a letdown game for him and you can get a consistent performance out of him?
Well, I feel fortunate that the next game's on the road. Ron's certainly played better on the road, and I think that the thing is going to be is when we get home, can he continue to take the same kind of shots? For whatever reason, he's seemingly locked in on the road. Maybe it's that circle the wagons mentality. But Ron's played well on the road. Knock on wood. Hopefully he does it again. I think our team has played, a little bit more stout defensively on the road. I just think that we've been stingier on the road, and I think our shot selection has been better on the road. Obviously, when we get home, we hope that carries over. But I don't really have any concerns about Ron continuing on this path.
And when you look at the CAA and this weekend's past result, it seems like any team can win on any given night in this league. How competitive is the CAA this year compared to previous seasons?
Well, again, I would say to you, it's part and parcel of college basketball. I've said this a few weeks in a row that you look at any league in the country. I follow every league, so I follow the Big Ten, and the Big Ten is a mumbo jumbo of teams. It seems like anybody can beat anybody in that league. The league I came from, the MAC conference, same thing. The Mid-American Conference, the Conference USA is very similar. There's a couple teams at the top, but anybody can beat anybody. And again, I'm going to continue to say this, but I think it's the way that it's going to be in college basketball, that unless you have an unusual confluence at the mid-major level of older guys that have been together, you're going to be a team that can win a game or lose a game, and it really comes down to that particular game. I feel fortunate, hopefully, that we can keep this nucleus together, and I look at it for next year and the following year that this team can stay together and build something really, really significant.
Coach, you've been playing Wednesday, Thursday, then Saturday. You play tomorrow. How does that affect any kind of rotation or routine you'd set up, and is it good to get back in the action coming off that game-winning victory so soon?
Yeah, we like playing right away. Our team feels good. We had a very good practice on Sunday. We'll practice again here in a half hour, and this team feels good about itself. So you don't want to upset those biorhythms. Typically it's Wednesday, Saturday, but going on the road, we'll take our chances. Hopefully we'll continue to, kind of up the ante and play well. But it doesn't really impact our rotation all that much, even with a one day less prep.
Dimitri's been getting more playing time. Talk about what he's been doing in practice to see more PT.
Well, we talk about him all the time. He's darn near 6'10" and 245 pounds, and he's a guy that throws his body around. And boy, oh boy, is he a big guy. We'd like him to be somewhat more productive, but it's like the chicken or the egg. Is he going to be more productive? He won't be more productive until he gets more time. And in order to get time, we've got to live with a couple of mistakes. It seems like he makes a shot every game that he's in. So, we've kind of made this decision that we're going to play him behind Yohani. Yohani, for whatever reason, is not a guy that can get to 30 minutes in any one game. So, I'm kind of comfortable with Dimitri being the backup five and give him that opportunity and see if he can make some plays. In fact, we think he can score with his back to the basket. But he's just as likely to throw the ball in the stands as he is to score with his back to the basket. So we'll see. We'll see. We'll see tomorrow night.
Last year, you guys had a bit of an eventful trip to Delaware. I think on the way back to Harrisonburg, that was the only time I've actually seen you with facial hair. What was your lasting memory of that trip?
Of which game?
Delaware last year.
Yeah, you know what? I guess it was the snowstorm, right? And we're venturing back into the snow belt of America here, the Northeast. To me, it's just another opportunity to go on the road and get a win. And if we got to spend 3 days up there, I'm all for it. We can drive right from Delaware on Friday right to Elon as long as we get a win. It doesn't really matter. So hopefully we won't get encumbered by a lot of snow.
I forget what Delaware's overall record is, but this is a lot more dangerous game than that would suggest. Am I right in saying that?
Well, I've liked their team all along. I think they've got good size. They get scoring now at every position. And they're good at home. They've been good at home, for the last 3 or 4 years. So to me, it's the game that I expected to be on the schedule. A team with 5 scorers. They play 9 guys. They seemingly have all been in double figures. That whole top 9, it seems to me, they've all been in double figures. So they have quality pieces to their team. They're playing better. They're at home. It's a payback game for them. It's a challenging game.
And quickness aside for Joey McLean, would you just say poise is probably his best other attribute?
For Joey?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think Joey McLean seems nonplussed by the situation. I don't know if he's so cool that he's not bothered by the circumstance or he just feels very comfortable. But there are times I want to pull what's remaining of my hair out because I think he's too cool. And then there are times like the game the other night where, he's really kind of unaffected by this, the score and the time. I thought Joey took one really bad shot early in the game, and from that point forward, he was very solid. In fact, my thing with Joey is getting to be more physical defensively and put more energy into it. And yesterday he had as good a practice on the defensive end. So, when you play freshmen, you got to live with some of their mistakes. But Joey, is very in tune with this idea of trying to get better. And it doesn't always seem like it, but he's trying to get better. And that's been, a welcome sign because I think he's got an ability to be a very good player at this level.
Joey, Ron, and Winston shared a lot of court time together at Towson. What do you like about that lineup?
Well, I think it's that. I think that they're all unemotional. I think that they're not really impacted, from one play to the next. I think they all have really good belief in themselves, and there is really good chemistry. Now, if Joey grows a couple inches this summer and Winston puts on 20 pounds, I'd be okay with that. But for right now, I think that group is really solid, and I think they can all make shots. They're all very willing defenders, and they're all getting better. I think Winston can get better defensively. I think Joey is getting better, and so I like that group. And to think that we'll have that group together next year with Jackson again, I think that's a real positive.
You said you considered starting 2 other guys besides Joey for this Towson game. Who were they?
Just about everybody. We've considered starting everybody. Paulius has started some games. Could you put him back in the starting lineup? And at one point, we even thought about Yohani has started slowly in games. Can you take Yohani and sit him down and start Dimitri? Now we only thought about that for a minute, and then I put my beard down, and we said, okay, let's really think about this.
Sure. And Hari Hall, was he back at practice yesterday?
He did not practice yesterday.
Didn't practice.
And I don't know that he's going to practice today, so I don't foresee him playing. Again, he's still coming back from, an injury sustained last home game. So, see.
Sure. Thanks.
Okay.
Anything else, gentlemen? All righty, Coach Brady, thank you very much. The Dukes on the road tomorrow night. Again, it's an 8 o'clock tip-off there at the University of Delaware. And the Dukes will be on the road Saturday as well at Elon. That's a 7 o'clock tip-off. Next home game for the Dukes is a week from Wednesday when they entertain the Drexel Dragons. Thank you for joining us this week here at O'Neill's Grill. And we'll talk to Coach Brady again next Monday here at O'Neill's.